Hello, everybody. You're hearing the voice of Patricia Angelin, and you are at all the feels on Facebook Live. Notice that beautiful spring green rose that I was just given, which gave me a little bit of hope, because I'm in the floral district of New York, and there's a wonderful new florist who, despite the pandemic, has just opened up a new floral shop in the same building as the Alba Technique studio. So panning down from the beautiful rose to what you normally see when you check in with me, and you will see another lovely rose, which is almost on its last legs, but not quite. And we rejoice in these small things. I'll now turn around so that we can see each other. And here I am on Facebook Live, and we're at Alba Technique. I did get a question come in today, and I think that I'm going to have to apologize to the questioner, and you know who you are, because it is something that we had begun addressing in a number of other sessions, and so it's more of a continuation, and a wonderful continuation will be. But I will look at it on the Instagram Live next week at the same time, or whenever you're able to do it on YouTube, Alba Technique channel. And today I am going to acknowledge a very big elephant that is in my interior room. And I'm going to deal with that. And consequently, this is going to be entitled, and of course, I just got, oh my gosh, I just forgot the title. I just assigned this. Thank you. Roller coasters and merry-go-rounds. Over the past 2 weeks, it seems that things have been increasing. In the United States of America, there have been shootings, which seem to be, whether they are or not, what we now define as hate crimes against one sector of society or another. 8 Asian Americans were killed in the city of Atlanta in the state of Georgia a week ago. 10 persons in all were killed. The age ranges varied in a place of business. And since then there have been other incidences of this. So the along with the pandemic, which has been now a full year of relative lockdowns, of small businesses going under, of everything I don't need to tell you. We know, we all know. We're talking about the feelings involved with this. So what I want to talk to you a little bit today is what I have personally observed in my own body, in my own feelings, since about March the 8th through today, which is March the 24th, I believe. Yes, it is Wednesday, the 24th of March, 2021. So, for future, since these things will be saved, this dates this to a particular place, New York City, a particular person, me, and a particular time frame, 1 year going into the beginnings of emergence from our little burrows. Carefully, can we emerge? Can we not emerge? Do we have to pull back in? Oh my goodness. Is it okay? How are we doing? Can we maybe go? So that's how it feels in one degree or another. Even if we've shoved that down. So even for those of us who haven't lost income, of course, I have been coming out of the larger theatrical community, and our industry is still shut down. Yes, there's some episodic television that is filming now. White papers have been issued by Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, so people are able to go gently, carefully, prudently back into studios, back onto location, back onto sets. Those of you who are not in our industry, you are gently going back into airlines. We are beginning to open up cautiously, carefully, and as I would like to say, we hope prudently. So what is this producing in us emotionally? Well, we're on a roller coaster. We're on a roller coaster with our own anxieties because of what is going on in the wider world. And then on some levels, we say to ourselves, but self, say we, there are vaccines, yay! There are 4 vaccines, yay! And then we hear, go, in Norway, 4 people or 8 people got, died from one of the vaccines, the AstraZeneca, because of a rare thing. And suddenly we can't take that vaccine. So I don't want to go too deeply into this because I do not want to increase your anxiety levels. Quite the opposite. But let's look at our own internal elephants in the rooms of ourselves while we're on this call. There's a pretty big pink elephant in our internal rooms, and some people still admit to it and some people don't. It's there, and it's there for all of us. So we need to observe ourselves, and we need to allow the cognitive knowledge of what's happening in our own bodies, and we need to allow how our own, and cognitively get this, everybody, how are our own reactivities, our own reactions, affecting our own bodies and affecting the people to whom we are sending text messages, emails, appearing on Zooms, when we're going out of our burrows, how are we reacting to people out in public who maybe not be masked, or maybe have their masks down here, or maybe have a mask but it's down here, or whatever the variations on that theme, because it's vaccines, yay, and then it's, but I can't get an appointment, boo, hiss. So this is what we are experiencing in our bodies. We go from the core level anxiety, which is a low through bass drone, as I like to call it. Those of you who are in music are familiar with the through bass drone. And what it means musically is like what you'd get with a bagpipe, and what the melody goes on top of. And so our emotional melody goes on top of this through bass drone, which is very deep in our bodies. It actually lives in our solar plexuses for most of us, although for some of us, if it's a result of things from our past life, when the triggers in our past life come, oh my goodness, we have this huge cortisol drop and our entire nervous systems go, because our bodies are smart. We accept that. We also accept that the body, there's a title of a wonderful book, which I've mentioned in the past, The Body Keeps the Score. Score, 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 score. And it does keep the score. And that's a very wonderful book. And because I'm in such anxiety right now, which I'll get to in a second, see, I'm going off in the tangents. That's what our mind does when we have more anxiety rather than less. Our mind goes to worst case scenarios. It short circuits itself in the middle of a thought. It sends us out in, it's the kind of thing that sends you into a room and you left the room knowing what you wanted to get, and you get into the room and you go, oh, shoot, what was I here to get? You go from your kitchen to your bedroom or something. And then if you're older like me, you think, my gosh, I'm getting senile. Or if you're young, you're just thinking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. You are simply having anxiety. And we all around the world are going in and out of one level intensity of anxiety or another. And we need to acknowledge that and not beat ourselves up for it, because it's there. And I think, yes, I will say this, it's going to be there for the foreseeable future. All we can do is manage it better and better and assist each other in managing it better and better. So we will. But what happens is number one, you have the anxiety, and then the next thing that happens is you get mad. You get mad. And the third thing that happen is you get sad to one degree or another. It might be really small. You might not even notice that you've gotten sad. But that's a limbically mind, brain, healthy progression from fear as anxiety to anger as being pissed off, annoyed, mad, to sadness, depression, needing to go into oneself, needing to just get away from everybody, needing to go to sleep, needing to drink too much, just wanting to get away from all of that, the level of anxiety that we've all got, and then the flares of anger and mad and annoyance and irritation that come up because, and this is something we're all dealing with. Now that's relative to our individual temperaments, but the reason I'm mentioning this is because when we get these flares of anger on top of everything that's happening in the world and on top of the things that are real in our own individual life worlds, a lack of money, this morning is an example. The first thing this morning I got from my landlord, and it was a general email from my landlord in New York, but it was a threatening email. Now, I don't think that the general manager, who has a number of buildings, intended it to be threatening, but what the manager said was, there's been a suspension of our being able to sue you through February. Now we can sue you if you haven't paid rent. For those of you who have paid rent, know that we really appreciate you. For those of you who have not paid rent, we understand why you have not paid rent up until now. But now, all the rent arrears are now due. And we expect all the rent arrears to be paid by April 1st, which is next week. So I look at this email and I go, what the? You can't even tell with all the ability of the algorithms that are out there. Google can tell what we drink, what we eat, where we go, everything. And you can't tell who's paid rent and who hasn't. So at least you send out two different letters. One to the people who've actually been paying but haven't been able to eat because they paid. You get the idea. So this was my reactivity this morning. So knowing what I do about our human emotions, I recognized why I was angry and why I had this flare. It's because I have a lot of anxiety. And as I began to think it through today, I thought, whoa, you had that major flare, including expletives, which is very unlike me for those of you who know me very, very well. And one of my very dear old friends, Sir Claude, is here with us right now, and he knows who Sir Claude is. And he would know that using expletives is not a norm for me. So it's a very clear indicator for me, because I've read the neural studies. Using fuck and shit, it ups testosterone levels, which makes everybody feel more powerful and all of that. But it ain't good. It ain't good because it makes us more mad. And it makes us spew out into the universe more of our own anger, which feeds everybody's anger, and the anger goes up and up and up and up and up. Not helpful, Pat. Not helpful. So I realized that, of course, this morning. I went, whoa. So that major anger flare is on the anxiety. What the heck? Well, Pat, you started to have dizziness yesterday, very lightheaded. I realized that my body weakness, because we've all got body weaknesses. Some people get bronchitis frequently. Some people get stomach aches. Some people, their kidneys are lacked up. Lower back pain for a lot of men particularly, but women too sometimes. Sciatica, etc. Whatever we've got. We've all got something, or we've got a tendency towards something breaking down. And yesterday, one of my old bugbears came, and that is that my sinuses are really, really full. Is it allergies and change of season? Am I getting a little cold? But the mind goes when one has anxiety. The mind goes off. And so yesterday I had the feeling that, I guess, tangents was, what I would have said. I had an internal image of it was as though there were like tentacles, like tentacles of an octopus. Like I had all kinds of them going off here. And everything that I had to do in my particular life felt that is important. Granted, I've got a lot of seriously important things to do, both with Alba technique and with other things, as well as teaching at the same time. But we've all got things. It's why the Alexandrian philosopher, and I think it was the 1st century BC, but don't hold me to this, Plotinus. It's frequently misattributed, but he said in Greek something to the effect of, be kind. Everybody you meet is bearing a terrible burden. Be kind. Everybody you meet is bearing a terrible burden. And I think at this time, that is really, really important for all of us to bring back into our minds and back into our minds. Whether we are online to get coffee, or whether we're dealing with emails or text messages, because in people's anxiety, their communication skills are not very good right now. So I need to essentially forgive my landlord for the stupid communication that she sent. And since then, if we are getting triggered by something, and we will all be being triggered. Now, triggered is a big word, and I think it's being misused. It's become psychobabble right now, because it came out of people who are dealing with very serious post-traumatic stress disorder. But in a way, all of us are dealing with a small level of PTSD to one level or another. So that simply is the elephant in each of our own individual neurobiological rooms. So if each one of us is a room, we've got an elephant in it, and that elephant is anxiety, because of lack of work, and because of the events in the world, and because of the events in ourselves, as I've said. So we go from being very, very afraid, and so yesterday I was slightly dizzy because of this sinus, but it was very slight. I was perfectly functional. But I recognize that my thoughts, like what are your thoughts doing, Pat? Well, they're going like this and 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 like this. And I had the feeling, this is about all the feels, I had the feeling yesterday that I had to grab each one of these things, and it was like really, really seriously important that I tie up that loose end, and I tie up, where is the thing that would tie up that loose end, and I haven't filed my taxes. I haven't filed my taxes for 2 years. And all of these other strands. And so that was how my left brain, my cognitive self, my thinking critical self was going, you must do this, and you must do that, and you must do the other thing, and you must do the other thing. And then the other part of the self is going, but how, but when, and which thing is more important, and what do you do first? And oh my goodness. So that was what was going on in my mind yesterday. And today I went out on some errands, and this is why I'm calling this the roller coaster and the merry-go-round. Because today I went to go to the acupuncturist because of the slight dizziness. My sinuses are completely full. Who knows what it is, but if I went to the acupuncturist, I'd be better. So I go to the acupuncturist, I walk there, and the iron door is closed. No acupuncturist. Where does my mind go? Oh my gosh, my acupuncturist has died. He's in his 80s. What will I do? I will have no acupuncturist. I don't know whether Dr. Lee has died or not. So I thought, Pat, what can you do? You've got to do something about this. Well, there's a phone number on the door. Call the phone number, Pat. That's a doing. That takes me out of the realm of my anxiety, because it takes me into the realm of anger, but in the good way of anger patterning in the body. I can do something with this. I can make a phone call. So I looked at the number on the thing, I made a phone call, I left a message, I made sure I did what it instructed rather than not hearing it, which it would be normal for me. I would maybe not hear that I had to hit the hashtag at the end in order for the mail to be sent. So I did it all right, and then I thought, you can do something more. There are people coming out of the building next door. Ask them if this has been closed or not. And they said, no, it was open yesterday. Another piece of information. Good, thought I. Then there was the delivery guy with UPS. I stopped him. I said, have you noticed that the acupuncturist herbalist has been closed? Or is this just today? He said, well, they're closed. I didn't notice it. I didn't have anything for them. No, they were open yesterday and the day before. They've been open the whole time. Thank you. So now I have taken care of this. I have done what I could do about that situation. I've made a phone call and left a message, and I have asked 2 people. So 1, 2, 3. I've taken 3 actions. So then off I go, and I think, all right, you're a little not quite right, Pat. Dizziness. The barometer is very low. It could be because of that. The rain is going to come. Why don't you not go down to your coffee shop? Here is a coffee shop. Get your coffee here. You can sit down. How lovely. 2 seats outdoors. COVID friendly. Very good. So I got coffee. I sat down. I started to drink my coffee and figure out all of this stuff to communicate with you guys today. And so out of my anxiety and out of my anger, I started to let down. I started to feel a little bit weepy. Then I started to get more dizzy. I'm like, shit. No, Pat, just figure out what you're going to do. And so I just sat there and I breathed in a lot of tenderness for myself, and it didn't get worse, because that was what the fear was, that it was going to get worse, because this is something I have known in my life when I had a tumor in my head, and it can sometimes progress from just a lightheadedness, and it can get a lot worse. And I thought, Pat, you are only 2 blocks in this city away from your home apartment. And then, of course, the anxiety in the brain goes, yeah, but you might not be able to make that. Well, never mind, you have a cell phone. You'll be fine. Well, there's 3 flights of steps. They're uneven. Oh, for heaven's sakes. So that's what the anxiety does. Or I'm telling you, these are the kinds of thoughts. So you can ask yourself, relative to yourself, if you're having thoughts that are going all over the place, or if they interrupt themselves, or if they're true, but like, what do you do about it now? It's anxiety. It doesn't help. Don't feed it anymore. Anxiety tends to make our minds go to worst case scenario. And yesterday I was talking to my friend and who cuts my hair, and I have not had my hair cut in 13 months. And that's fine. And at least it's growing. I mean, for a while I was losing all my hair and it didn't grow. So at least it's growing a little bit in length now. So I'm thinking those positive things. Do that as much as you can. You're not being Pollyanna to look for your silver linings wherever you can find them. Wherever you find a silver lining, look at it, take it in, know that it is a silver lining. I was looking at little budding crocuses this morning. Croci, as my father would say. Crocuses, in Latin. Multiple little crocuses. They were only this big, but I'm looking at them. There was color and there's growth. And, this kind of thing. Allow yourself, the old smell the roses. Whatever the roses are in your life, allow yourself to breathe in, literally and figuratively. It doesn't have to be a rose for you to breathe it in. Think of it as a rose and breathe it in. The fact that I'm still able to talk with you, that the dizziness hasn't gone all the way to Alfred Hitchcock territory of vertigo, is a minor miracle right now. I'll take it. And then I thought, well, talking to you guys, last week, what were my feelings? A week ago, it was my birthday. Normally I don't care. Mostly I forget it. But last week, for some reason, I was an alt at my birthday. I was really, really happy. I thought, wow, this is an excellent reminder of what, a low-level joy feels like. What a refreshment. And that low-level joy lasted Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There was no major reason that I felt that way, but I took it. I was happy. It lifted all of my spirits. But yesterday, Tuesday, roller coaster going down, you know, and all of that. So everything has come back. And in order to be functional, I've been getting annoyed at things like the email that I got. And a lot of people, the way that one of the things I want you to watch for is that the way these feelings are showing themselves in our colleagues and our work friends and even our friends is that we are more apt to, you know, using the old Western metaphoric image about a gun, and I think that is not an accident that's coming into my head, going off half-cocked to when we explode. We explode when we didn't intend to explode. And it can be really small, like we just snap at somebody. And we might snap at people because people are not communicating as well as they normally did. They're not taking the time to think of the effect of their emails, to think of the effect of their text. They're texting, they're getting rid of it, it's off. And then we get it and we go, well, why did she send that? Or why did he say that? And that might not have been what the person intended you to feel at all. That was not what the individual felt when the individual sent it. It's just that they had to get it off their plate. So the words that they used were infelicitous, shall we say, unhappy, infelicitous words. So please give both yourself and the other people in your world the benefit of the doubt right now. Because I talked to a friend, and then we'll end with this, because this is where the was the other image as well as the roller coaster image came. The merry-go-round. You feel like you just get off a roller coaster, you know, in that you've solved one of the problems in your pandemic life, and then there's still all of these other problems, but you feel like you've gotten off the roller coaster for a minute, and yet it's as though you stepped off the roller coaster to get onto a merry-go-round. And the merry-go-round is still going around, and you manage to get yourself onto a horse, and the horse is going up and down a little bit like this, and you are also going around like this, and the same old stuff is going around and coming around, and those are the feelings I'm talking about. Please be patient with yourself. Please be patient with everyone else in your personal life world. Keep it personal and local as much as you can. If you're having a lot of anxiety, I beg you not to go global. Don't listen to the news. Yes, you know there are bad things that are happening out there. There are bad things that are happening out there. This is when we go spiritual on its ass. This is when you know that when a butterfly has its wings in one part of the world, a hurricane is created to another. Our anger has mass, people. My anger can influence other people for ill, not for good. Talking too much about hatred feeds hatred. A little bit of it is good. We have to step up to the plate. I get that. But it won't cure it. It can. We must not feed our own righteous angers at this time. Take what action you can that you believe to be good action. Support the people in your communities with that which is good and beautiful and true, and do not do much listening to the news, because everybody is so angry and it is on top of the fears, and it escalates. It escalates the fears, it escalates the angers, and that's how bad things are happening. And people who are mentally ill, who are like on the edge of mental illnesses, it can send them over to the edge. So please don't feed that in the world. I'm trying not to. I gave you allowed you to see in me some of the roller coaster that I'm on right now. And I offer that for the good of the world, for our varying suffering communities who are being triggered by actual events that are happening, by my friends who are in those specific communities who are being triggered, And that is what is good for all of us to do. So roller coasters, bound to get at it because people are trying to come back out of our little burrows, and that's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. And so if somebody startles us even more, we want to pum, or we want to, I'm thinking of this dear friend. I'm thinking of you, Sir Claude, when you told me when I was accosted on several continents, and you said, Pat, why don't you take this part of your head and hit somebody? And I'm like, that is so not happening with me, my dear friend, because it wouldn't be efficient. And that would be one of the reasons why it would not be efficient. I wouldn't be able to follow it up. So I use other things, and I love you all. And I thank you for your support by being here with me on this very difficult day. Thank you. And these tears and this sadness that I feel are real. I did not use Alba emoting emotional effector penance to get here, although I could have made it real by doing that, but this is real, and it's the letdown of my body from my joy of being able to communicate this to you. Let us support each other, care for each other, keep it local, and acknowledge the elephant that is in your particular neurosystem room. And I will hope to answer any questions that you might have about any feelings at all next week, same time, same station for Alba Techniques, All the Feels on Instagram, and then the week following that on Facebook. And you can tell your friends if they say, no, I don't have Facebook, or no, I don't have Instagram. Tell them that they can look at Alba Technique on YouTube channel and see any of these back things that they want to. So thank you all, and bless you all. And this too shall pass.